I get it's kind of like between the email sometimes and indie developers trying to convince people to play their demos. Like I could imagine the struggle is real, just trying to get people to try something different. But you get like the good and bad out of it. So like with this ARG hunt, I've seen nothing but like a lot of fun and positivity. For example, though, on like your last headset launches, like the Vive Focus 3 and Vive Pro 2, you get like this wide mix of people that are so pro and enthusiastically on board and show their excitement, whether it's YouTube videos, tweets, whatever. And then you get this other crowd who doesn't buy it, and you get this negative social reaction internally at HTC. And I don't get the opportunity to talk like this or to people in your position. What's that like to the culture of HTC when you see the dichotomy of great social
Yeah.
media reaction and negative? How do
Mhm.
you guys internalize that? Are there changes
Yeah,
made, or
and
how do you view it?
yeah, and one common misconception we keep getting out there is that, oh, HTC is abandoning the consumer segment, like that we don't care about consumers, and then they get confused, like why is your social media like consumer focused? Why is this? And to make things clear, HTC has not ever abandoned the consumer sector. We just launched some products that are focused on, well, high-end gamers, which is consumer, but
Hmm.
also businesses. And that's generally because the landscape is that way right now. We have a unnamed competitor who is basically losing a lot of money to acquire their customers, right? And I think it's good for the ecosystem, and they make money in other different ways. But HTC is a traditional hardware maker, right? So we
Yep.
can't lose money on every hardware we sell. We have to at least break even on the hardware. So when people see that and they say, "Oh, look, you're ripping us off. You're like so greedy." It's like, well, yeah, like that's the other companies, sometimes the cost they're charging is not even covering the material costs in the world economy. So that's something that is hard for us to deal with and debate about, talk about. I think there's a misunderstanding. Like we again keep trying to innovate, but for the time being, we've decided, all right, we're gonna target the very serious VR users, right? Again, the
Hmm.
people who want to upgrade to high-end PC VR and businesses. But we are continuously doing a lot of research, innovating. I can't share about details about
Sure.
how to launch new products, new exciting things in the consumer space. And
I
so I
think
think that's one of the biggest misunderstanding.
I think you knew like like when I asked people what maybe they want me to talk about here, I think you knew the common question is always consumer VR, Quest competitor, the name them. Um, I when I hear you say something like this, it makes more sense. A parallel to like my industry or my past industry when I worked with insurance, like you have some insurances company like State Farm. They lose money on every single policy they sell. Like they just absolutely lose money. They make it up in other areas. Um, then you got companies like Geico, absolutely make money on every dollar they sell. Not a lot, but they are making a profit. And because of that, the product you're getting with each of them is drastically different on what they can offer. They just both have different plans. And I will I'll be honest, like, yeah, when the first round of kind of a new marketing for HTC, when the memes started coming and things like that, really thought a consumer headset was coming that I could go to my local store and buy. And yeah, there was a little disappointment when it didn't happen. But I think it's the power of the brand you guys might have built, because regardless of what route you go, I think you know that everyone will go back if a headset came that they could purchase and use, because the products you've done and the goodwill that you started with VR being one of the first hardware manufacturers in there, it's lasted. It's lasted for me at least. Um, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask if something standalone, putting aside price, if something consumer standalone was in the works at HTC.
And I'll also say that I don't know why this is not obvious, and this is not an announcement from me at all. But I'll say that a lot of people don't really pay attention when the product is called Vive Focus 3 Business Edition. When something's called a business edition, it tends to imply something else, right? But again,
Sure.
that's not an announcement coming from me. It's just you look at the name business edition and you can kind of theorize what potential plans of the future.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. We don't have to get into that. Do you remember that like right around the Vive Focus 3, like right before you guys put out more than like the teaser clips and the teaser pictures. Do you remember that like Nike-esque like gray and green render that someone put out? Do you recall that?
Vaguely rings a bell.
Yeah, there was some super lightweight, like I think it was like a fitness edition, like gray and green render that someone said was the
Oh
next
yeah,
headset
yeah.
coming.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was called the was it Vive Air or something?
Something like that. It really it resonated. A lot of people thought that was legit. What did HTC think when they saw that coming out? I've got to imagine you guys saw it and had to nix that real quick.
Yeah, so this is a piece of design created by Creative Labs, which at the time I was actually leading. I moved more into more of the being close to the social media space and engaging the community. Um, well, I didn't lead it when they were designing that, but basically they create this design, and this is for any kind of innovation lab, right? You create 100 things and 99 don't make it
Yes.
because of we don't think it's compelling enough, or whatever reason, right? And that's the cost of innovation. And so after, we make a bunch of things and only one get pushed out to market. Now this was unfortunate because this was actually designed many years prior, and it wasn't gonna make it to the finish line, so it was just kind of shut down. And then the design team's like, hey, let's just submit this to the design awards, right? Just to show that we've designed.
Sure.
And many things in design awards, if people saw the context, a lot of them were our products that never launched because they're design awards, not product awards, right? Not launch product awards. Is a lot of them on concept. And so, but the timing was most unfortunate when the
Yes.
awards published the results, because we have been teasing new headset launch, new headset launch, new headset launch. And the community's been guessing what it could be, and then suddenly this organization says, "Hey, HTC, I won this award for their headset," and then that really threw all our communication plan apart, and we had to deal with that, and we're just like, hey, like this is not what we're gonna do. But and we did get people saying, wow, this looks really cool, we do like it. And so again, we might look at it more, but generally speaking, the reason why we tend to not reveal our products very until we're about to launch is there are many cases in the past where just even a leak of our products, and then within a month, similar but cheaper and crappier products from China come out, and then we're like maybe 9 months away, and they come out with a cheaper, crappy product, and people buy that and they think it's bad. And so when our legitimate product comes out, it just no one wants that anymore because they say, oh, it's just like that cheap product that I got. So there's a reason why Apple, a lot of hardware makers, have that much secrecy. We don't necessarily like it. We like to be open and share the hype, but that's just reality of the business too.
That makes sense. It's interesting comment that you bring up about the perception of if someone tries a headset that isn't or is a certain way, that they're going to take that experience and translate it to everything else. From someone who was into VR super early, yourself, like HTC making hardware, I always hear people who tried like Gear VR and Google Cardboard and never came back to VR. When you guys originally launched, the first bit of VR hardware out there, did you have to combat that mentality? Was there a re-education process where you really had to convince these users who tried just something on cardboard that no, this is completely different? How do you change perceptions of people who already had one bad experience in VR?
I mean, I think it's still the same today, right? People have to try it to believe it, right? And so it's the experience. So when people doubt, they try it on and like, wow, this is so different. I believe in this now. Like, I think a lot of people, VR enthusiasts, like family members, right? They still say, oh, well, it's cute that you like this gaming headset thing, but it's not for me because I'm not a tech person, right? Until they put it on, it's like, wow, this is so amazing. So I think it's the same as the beginning. It's just, and sometimes people can recognize that, hey, a phone in front of my face would be different than all like customized piece of technology around my head. So I think they acknowledge it probably would be better, but they just might not get out of the way to try it. But if they do, they end up believing again. And it's usually those people who are early adopters anyway for the cardboard
Yes.
folks. So they tend to, they will say, hey, VR, it's a nice gimmick. You look around, you see the sky, but there's no actual engaging experience. And then as good content came out, that also changed.
Hit that subscribe button to stay on top of the daily clips, or catch the debates and fireside chats live on the main channel down in the video description. See you next time, Space Cowboys.